Now this is the climb itself of the Blubberhouses. As I say, they've categorised it only fourth. The local cyclists will be amazed as they now race for the first man over the line. That's all. He gets a point.
Yep, it's a hard way to earn a single point. Jens Voigt leads that competition with 4 points, the points that he garnered yesterday on today's stage. He was first over the top of Blubberhouses on that occasion. I don't think he'll be up there today, but more importantly for Jens, he's enjoying his day in the polka dot jersey. So, looking out to everybody who's found the most fantastic vantage points here. So this is the climb of Blubberhouses. It's slightly easier from this side, as they will plunge off the top of this climb and down the other side. And then they will start to swing down towards the south. This is the climb now of Blubberhouses, the 7-man lead, an advantage now in excess of 3 minutes.
And this is Matthew Boucher dancing on the pedals at the back in his very first Tour de France. He's a North Carolina man, and the local paper's been writing big stories about him. His dream was to do well in his first tour. Well, here he is, day 2 in the breakaway at the moment. And we clear the bracken up onto the heather of the moor now, and indicates Paul we're getting into the exposed sections of Yorkshire. Descend from Blubberhouses, we'll come into West Yorkshire and race on to Addingham and Silsden, heading towards Keighley. We've seen some great crowds, to say the least, over 2 days. Wait till you see the crowd coming into Keighley, and I'm saying that not knowing, but I know Keighley will turn out in their hundreds of thousands.
6.5% the gradient at this point. The question is, who is the man who wants to get himself that single point over the top of this climb? That could be very important, because there are 9 categorised climbs on today's stage, and somebody who stays in the breakaway for a long period of time today and amasses a big number of points can steal the lead in this competition away from Jens Voigt, and that will be on somebody's mind.
Well, all the enthusiasts here have made this very insignificant little hill called Blubberhouses look like the top of Alpe d'Huez. Look at this. Let's go with the crowd. Come round the corner, there's the banner, winner takes all. It's only going to be a point, but they're going to have a little dig for it though. Cyril Lemoine has opened up the sprint. He's being chased by Omido Fonseca, but I don't think he's going to get it. Winner takes all. 1 point then goes to Cyril Lemoine.
Hard way to earn himself a single point. Very shortly they'll start to swing around to the south and line up, as you said just a little bit earlier, for Keighley. Huge crowd over the top here. Lemoine gets himself that single point, but there's a lot more time points available. Once they go through Keighley, they'll start to line up for Oxenhope Moor. That's a 3rd category climb, where there are points for the first 2 riders to go over there.
When I used to organise the Tour of Britain Milk Race, Paul, 2 years ago, I used to climb Oxenhope Moor, and I gave it a 1st category tag, and the organiser of the Tour de France has given it a 3rd category tag.
Well, the big problem is, Phil, the problem with the milk races, it doesn't go over the Col du Galibier, which is about 25 kilometres long, so you've got to sort of work out the categorisations and put it into perspective a fraction. I know it was probably a 1st category climb in the United Kingdom, but when you start to think of the Tourmalet, the Galibier,
all right. You made your point.
Okay, thank you.
153 kilometres still to ride. The peloton are still to the top. Blubberhouses, they'll come up as one, I think. We're looking at them right now. Bernie Eisel seems to do as much talking as pedaling with the peloton on the left of our picture there.
We've spotted Ted King in the middle there for Team Cannondale. He's done a lot of work in the early part of this race. He's got a bit of a a revenge to pull on the Tour de France after the accident he had in Corsica last year, and that elimination for a fraction of a minute, just seconds, had him pulled out and eliminated. He didn't finish inside of the time. And I think this year he'll want to go a little bit further than that. But he's very motivated today by the fact that Team Canada believe that Peter Sagan can get himself the overall lead. He just has to get rid of one man, if you like, and that, of course, is Marcel Kittel. But it's all going to be today a question of time, of position in the sprint, because there are no time bonuses in the Tour de France this year, as there have been many years ago. And I think it makes it a much more exciting race in the early stages.
Looking at these crowds enjoying the sight of the Tour, it would have been absolute injustice if the weather had been bad today in inclement, because we wouldn't have seen these pictures of these people, and they wouldn't have been very happy sitting up there, because when the rain comes here, it also becomes freezing cold. They've got a tremendous view sight of the Tour de France. The Welsh flag flying down there, that'll be for Geraint Thomas, who's on the Sky team. We saw the Isle of Man flag at the top of Blubberhouses just a few moments ago. That would have been, of course, from our captain, who sadly didn't start the Tour this morning. He was just joining our coverage after his accident yesterday, and he's absolutely devastated. He admits that it was his fault, the accident, and he was on the telephone last night and rang up Simon Geraint and apologised, and Simon just thought it was a very nice thing to do. Well, there's a crash at the rear of the peloton somewhere, and the camera, there it is, down on the edge of the road. It's one of the NetApp riders who's gone down there, Paul.
It'll be Hozarski from Poland. Doesn't seem to be panicking too much. He'll be waiting for the team car to come up alongside him, making sure that everything's in order before he pulls away again. And I think, as you mentioned yesterday, Phil, all of the riders on this NetApp squad are first-time participants in the Tour de France. The main field now over the top of Blubberhouses. So 2 minutes, well, 3:30, sorry, over the top of the climb, and you can't get a more beautiful view than that. There's a little spot of water on the camera lens there. Just looking out from the commentary position here, it looks still as if the clouds are nice and high in the sky. So theoretically, the thunderstorms may well hold off and keep this a nice dry run into the finish, because if it gets wet on the run down... Oh, there's another crash. Oh, there's a crash right in the middle there. There's number... It doesn't look... It's one of those crashes that the race referees like to call a chute sans gravité, but you know, many of the referees probably haven't fallen off like this. Let's have a look at it again.
Well, I'm absolutely amazed, and this is only the riders doing. They can't blame the crowd for this. Very orderly on the side of the road here. Also, Simon Geraint, who crashed badly yesterday riding away in that white jersey, involved in this one as well. He must be thinking this is not his lucky Tour at the moment. Jan Barter, the Czech champion, also riding off. He's got a... They all look all okay, which is the good news. One or two of the bikes are in a spot of bother here.
Louis Westra, the former Dutch champion. He's not panicking at all. There's a few good souvenirs at the side of the road there. One or two spectators picking up the bottles that have dropped off the riders' bikes. But it actually happened, if we look at it one more time here, it happened halfway down the peloton, and I would think that's a little touch of wheels. And because the road is so narrow, there's a ricochet domino effect right the way back down the main field again. It just accentuates the point. I say it all the time, but yes, you have to ride in the top 15 to 20 places, which is why we can see Peter Sagan in that white jersey, surrounded by his teammates. Alberto Contador is not far away. And over on the left-hand side, I can see a couple of riders from Team Sky, so I presume that Chris Froome is not far from the front either.
And there's the situation now to try and repair the damage. The chase is on here as the riders rapidly try to catch up as we start to head down to Keighley. We're going to the sprint of the day at Keighley before the actual finish. The first 20 riders get points down at Keighley, and Peter Sagan will want to be involved in that, as well might be the case now for Marcel Kittel, having won the stage yesterday. A very good road surface. Nothing can be blamed, I think, other than the fact that 197 cyclists on a highway this narrow, touches of wheels does occur. At the front, they're not panicking. They're not trying to ride fast to hold everybody off the back, because they'll be checking around to see if likely winners finally of the Tour de France in Paris are down. and if there were, then they wouldn't race, because it's a gentleman's agreement. You don't attack a rider when he's down.
You can see they've spread out across the road. That's an indication that there's no major pressure, and they're not panic-stricken by the composition of that leading group of 7 riders. They know that on the running towards the finish, they can pull back 3, 4, 5 minutes quite easily. Once they go over Home Moss, though, that's not really the end of the climb. For me, it's the start of the climbing. Or over Home Moss, then of course they've got that long climb over Woodhead Pass.
Well, the BMC boys here seem to be waiting for one of the rides, and I'm wondering if they might have trapped TJ Van Garderen in that little plummet back there, because they're slipping off the back waiting to see who is coming up. The distance, the convoy of the Tour de France, slowly but surely coming together again.